Welcome to the Upshot Interview Series. This is episode number 11. I'm Charlie Eisenhood. Josh Mansfield and I will be talking today with Joel Freeman, who just finished third at the Waco Annual Charity Open. He's a back-to-back top 10 finisher in his last two appearances at the USDGC. And he's a very interesting guy, analytical, thoughtful about his game. And we get into some of the changes he's made to his putting form, of what happened at USDGC last year, and why he likes to wear such interesting shirts. So we'll get into all that right here on the Upshot Interview Series. Joel Freeman joins us next. The Upshot is presented by Pound Disc Golf, makers of the best bags in the sport. And you know what? They make more than just disc golf bags. Check out their new Fly Pack. You can find it on the website, pounddiscgolf.com. It is the maximum carry-on size travel pack that you've been looking for. Backpack straps, or you can take those off and convert it into a duffel. It's got room for a laptop, a tablet, your clothes, your stuff, and you know what? Some disc golf discs, because obviously you're going to bring some on vacation. $299.99. And it's just a beautiful bag. You got to check it out. It's available in multiple colorways. Go to pounddiscgolf.com to check out the Fly Pack so that you can travel in style. Joining us now on the Upshot Interview Series is Joel Freeman, who just finished third at the Waco Annual Charity Open, the second stop on the 2022 Disc Golf Pro Tour. Joel, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys very much for having me, and thanks to everyone out there listening.
So, you get off to a great start to the 2022 season after a strong finish to your 2021 season. How's the game feeling right now?
Yeah, it's good. The main, for anyone who follows me closely, they would know that the main change I'm working with right now is transitioning from a nose down to a nose up angle on my putt. I think that has added to my consistency from short range as well as giving me a much better chance from longer ranges. And so that's been super helpful. So I've been loving the nose up putt. Still not totally confident and comfortable with it yet, but yeah, I think that's adding. Other than that, the forehand is feeling very much on point. If there's anything that I'm still waiting to kind of hit my stride with, it's the backhand right now. I feel good about like power shots, but kind of hitting my lines sometimes isn't quite always going well. So got to smooth out the backhand a little bit. Other than that, yeah, game's feeling really good.
So you've started the season off with a strong performance at Waco, and it feels like it continues what was a strong performance at the end of your season last season. Do you agree with that in terms of, do you feel like it's kind of a consistent thing from the end of last season? And what were your goals coming into this season, hoping to keep that momentum going?
Yeah, I mean, I like how you say the end of last season, because a lot of people would probably just say, oh man, you had a great season, which, I would, from my perspective, I feel like the first half wasn't great, but the second half, I feel like I did a good job of bringing it around and finishing strong. And so I appreciate the insight there and you guys telling it like it is. And yeah. Okay, sorry. You asked what were my goals? Yeah.
What were your goals?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I've come super close to taking down my first Pro Tour event. That's the big number one goal. I'm sure it doesn't come as a surprise to hear that. But yeah, just taking down that first big win. Super close, came within one stroke at Idlewild. I did win an event on tour. It was the Vintage Open a few years back. And that was like my only win on tour. One of two wins on tour. The field was strong. Ricky was there. Johnny McRae was there. Chris Clemens. It was a strong field, but it wasn't like an elite event. So, almost won USDGC. And the way those last, 6 holes played out was the main inspiration behind me switching my putting style. So I've gotten really close a handful of times. But that's the big kind of goal for me this year as of now. It's just taking down that first big one, getting the monkey off the back, and then hoping that things roll out from there. Other than that, like I mentioned, I want to smooth out my backhand a little bit, get comfortable with that, get comfortable and confident with my putt, and then beyond that, my other 2 big goals would be just continuing to grow and learn to manage the kind of player to fan relationship well. I want to do a good job with that and connect with the fans. And then also just loving on my card mates as I'm playing with them. That's high priority for me. So just learning how to do that and keeping that on the top of the priority list.
I want to go to USDGC from last year, and you've in your last 2 times playing, you've finished in the top 10 both times. You get the 5th place finish last year, and you get off to this tremendous start in the final round, and you get a bogey-free front 9. You go 6 under in the front, then you get the eagle on 10, and then you get inside circle 1 on the next 4 straight holes, and you miss the putt on 4 straight holes. And so you cool off quite a bit and end up not really being in a position to win it down the stretch. So what happened on those holes? Did you start to feel the pressure of back 9 at USDGC with a chance to win, or was there something technical going on with the putting, since you just mentioned that it's part of the reason that you've made this change this offseason?
Yeah. It was kind of funny. I think Nate Sexton was on my card that day, and I remember him making this comment. He's like, I don't remember exactly how he said it, but it was something like, man, sometimes you just get too close to the glory and weird things start happening, or you just get too close to the fire and it burns you or something, whatever. And he was giving me some credit with that comment. He knew I wasn't breaking down in a nervous wreck. He knew I wasn't. He knew I had the ingredients to win, but he's like, things just get weird. Like it's when that whole thing is happening and you're seeing like some dream come true, for whatever reason, those last those last moments, just like some strange things happen, and it seems like the universe is like, your universe is like slightly off balance or something. So yeah, for me, obviously there were nerves going on. Excuse me. I was in position. I essentially had the tournament in my pocket. Like, I literally just needed to make a couple 20-footers and I was golden. Which is crazy. It's exciting. And so whatever, I was excited. I was very nervous, obviously. And for me, this goes all into why I changed my putt. When you have a nose down form, imagine like my fingertips are where the putter is, and your arm is coming from down here, and it's swinging up like this. So every moment throughout your stroke, the angle of your disc is changing constantly. So you release it slightly early, and it's that much more nose down. You release it slightly late, and it's all the way up here, and it's hitting the band. And so versus a form that brings the putter back on the same plane and then releases it at that kind of nose up. Yeah, I'm kind of drawing a comparison between a push putt and a spin putt, not just nose up and nose down. But point being, the nose angle is constantly changing. And so when you're nervous, when your heartbeat is accelerated and like in those high tension moments, I feel like there are a lot more variables, and you're going to end up whatever losing strokes. When your putter is coming back and moving forward on the same angle the whole time, you can release it a little bit early. It'll just hit low. You release it a little bit late, it might hit high, but it's still going in the basket. It might not feel just right, but you're at least making the putt from 20 feet. For me, where it really like hurt the confidence was hole 12. I took the risky shot, got myself the 20-foot look for birdie. Nobody else on my card even went for it, if I remember right. So I made the aggressive move to get the stroke. I pulled it off. I was right there for birdie. And my putt missed so bad it didn't even hit metal. It just went under the cage. And it was an uphill putt, but still, like, that's like painful to watch. Watching myself do that. And so that was kind of the moment where I was like, yeah, I need to clean up the mechanics in my putt. Like it's not, yes, there's mental, yes, there's nerves, and yes, had I executed that putt better, I would have made it. But really the problem was technical. It was physical, not mental. I needed to clean up some mechanics in my form so that I'm giving myself a better chance when I don't execute perfectly to still make the putt.
So, what did your off-season putting routine look like then? So, when this happens, did you just say, full commit, I'm going nose up? Did you change putters? Did you just start? I mean, was it just constant reps all off-season to try and get back to the confidence? And where do you feel like you're at progress-wise with that new putt?
Yeah, great question. A lot of it had to do with filming, because as anybody in sports probably knows, or any like professional athlete knows, you might think you're doing something a certain way, and then you watch yourself on film or in slow-mo, and you are not doing it that way. So, yeah, I had never thought of like filming my putt before. Like I would film my backhand, but I never really like filmed my putt before. And so looking at the film, there were a lot of big surprises and like ugly surprises. And I'm like thinking to myself like that, no wonder I'm inconsistent. I'm missing like short putts when I get nervous. Like I need to kind of clean up some mechanics. So from there, it was just a matter of just trying to make those adjustments, making it look cleaner. Because I know how I want it to look in my head, and so it was just a matter of trying to produce that, getting in tons of reps, obviously, and yeah, it was like I cannot express how difficult it was. I mean, we're talking. I don't want to exaggerate, but probably tens of thousands of reps to try to like reinvent the muscle memory, because if you think about it, I've been putting generally the same for about 10 years. And so that's like I don't know what that is. Millions of reps probably. And so to try to peel those layers back and break down that muscle memory, really, really hard. Like there were days where I thought I was getting it, and I'd get my wife and I'd say, babe, like come film me for a second. I'd look it back over, I'd be like, I have gone nowhere. So I think in a nutshell, I'm seeing progress. It's slow, and it's still not, the putt is still not like 100% comfortable or confident, but disc golf is more fun for me now than it ever has been. Like just to have a chance from like 50 feet, like if I putt this thing right, it's gonna hit center. I've never experienced that before. When I was putting nose down, I was just throwing it as hard as I could from 50 feet and just hoping it was chain high in case I put it on the right line. Now it feels like every putt feels half as long, basically, in terms of the amount of effort I have to put into it. So it feels like a 25 footer now when I'm putting from 50, not in terms of ease, but in terms of effort, if that makes sense. And I feel like if I get my stroke right, it's going in. And that just makes disc golf more fun. So I'm loving it, and still got progress to make for sure. But I'm just enjoying it, really. Like, just me personally, it's more fun to to make putts and capitalize on your good tee shots and stuff.
Yeah. So, one more question on this putting topic. In 2019, you were 81% from C1X and 21% from Circle 2. 2021, you were 79 and 25. And so far this year, you're 75 and 13. Obviously, these first couple tournaments have been extremely windy, which doesn't help, especially if you're switching to a nose-up putt. But where do you want to get to? Like, do you track the metrics and the statistics, and are there numbers that you'll say, okay, like I feel pretty good about that given where I stand?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I would love to see the statistics improve. And I hate to, I hope I'm not ripping anyone's heart out here, but I don't feel like we're to the point yet where the statistics are super reliable, just because sometimes you end up with random volunteers, or not everyone's really paying attention. And so I feel like to put too much weight on those numbers would be ill-advised for someone in my position. So, of course, I'd love to see those statistics go up. I'm not surprised to see those numbers lower than they have been in 2 years past, because the only conditions I've played in is like 25, 30 mile an hour winds. So I think those percentages sound amazing to me, actually. But yeah, no, there's not a specific number. Partially because I just want to focus on a better stroke and, just improving my putt. I don't want to focus a ton on like the numbers. I want to focus on the results, which I don't know. You could argue the same thing. I personally am not going into it with that mindset. I'm trying to pace myself and give myself time and grace to make the adjustment. Um, so, yeah.
So, for those who aren't as familiar, you have a forehand predominant game, or have in the past, and are developing the backhand as you go. Is that correct?
Um, I don't know if I would necessarily say that. Inside 350 feet, I like to go to the forehand when I can. But I can throw backhand so much farther, and so that makes it seem like I'm backhand dominant. Um, but I think I at least try to be evenly seasoned. I think my forehand stands out more. I think I have easily a top 5 overall forehand in the world, not distance. I don't even know if I'm in the top 100 when it comes to forehand distance, but um, as far as overall goes, yeah, I think I've got definitely one of the best in the world, and so I think it stands out more than the backhand. But I try to be as evenly seasoned as possible, as versatile as possible.
So, what is it that gives you the preference? Because I that makes complete sense. When I see you play, I see a lot of that forehand that stands out because of how well you use it. I think that also shows the results and makes sense how well you've played at USDGC. So my question then is, what is it about the forehand inside 350 feet that makes you prefer it as your shot choice?
It's just being able to look at the target. That's pretty easy answer for me. The backhand, and this is also, I've got some bad habits with my backhand, and I don't have perfect backhand form by any means. But when I first, I don't know, taught myself to throw a backhand, I understood you have to turn away from your target to be able to engage your hips and to be able to get a lot of power behind it. Um, Forehand, you just get to stare at your target the whole time. So, um, so that just makes it a lot easier for me to hit my lines. It's as simple as that.
One thing I noticed, and I was kind of like looking around your social media to see if I could get the answer, but I couldn't find it. You didn't play any Pro Tour events in 2020. Was that a COVID related decision? Were you dealing with an injury? What happened there? And how did you manage that year? I mean, I saw you played a couple of tournaments, but
Yeah,
nothing on the Pro Tour that season.
yeah. No, that year was all about my wife, and um, so we got married that year in the month of May. Also, my she was my fiance at the time, of course. She owned her own business, and so she she was a business owner of a flower farm. So she farmed um, like blooms, like specialty cut blooms for like weddings and events and funerals and that sort of thing. And so that was a huge part of her story and just who she was as a person. And so I felt like it was important for me to um, just get a really close look at that part of her life. And so I just hopped in and worked for her for a year, as well as just devoting that year to our wedding, um, and moving in together and like just learning how to be married people, getting our marriage started off well. Um, and that was a really and just connecting with her family, getting to know her family uh, before we got married. So yeah, that was an awesome year, and I think a really important move and a really good decision for me. Obviously, played just a couple local tournaments because I couldn't stay away, um, but yeah, that was the story. I had already made the decision before COVID hit, so you can imagine the relief that I felt. I felt, I don't know, lucky or blessed or whatever kind of word you want to use. Like, I couldn't believe once I heard the news and, at Waco and everything, I had already decided I wasn't touring. So, um, yeah, super grateful for how that year
Wow.
played out. 2020 went according to plan for me.
How have you managed the time that you have to be away from home now that you're back out competing on tour?
The road is my home. I've got my wife with me. She's right over here on the other side of the room, and so I'm
Got it.
extremely fortunate to to be in a position to take her with me. But yeah, she was with me the whole year last year, and then she came right back out this year. So it's been amazing having her along with me.
And did your wife, does she still run her business kind of remote and during stretches when you go home, or is that something now that she's kind of put aside to go with you on the disc golf tour?
Yeah, it's a great question. She decided to pull the plug. She was feeling like it was the timing worked out appropriately. She felt like it was that chapter of her life was ready to close out anyway, and I won't go into details of why, but she felt good about the decision to just close up that chapter um and come out on the road and put the business away. So yeah.
All right, so the strawberry shirt. The strawberry shirt has been the big topic of discussion. Some people love it. Some people seem to really hate it.
Yeah.
Do you have more fruit shirts in the future? And what are your thoughts on the on wearing the strawberry shirt?
Yeah. Man, so it is funny. People really seem to be on one end or the other. They're either like, "Oh, love the bright colors. You're my favorite to watch," or, "Man, why is this guy allowed to look like that? So unprofessional." La la la. Um, to me, it takes us all back to where we all started with this game. Like, why do we play disc golf in the first place? Because it's fun. I'm out here to have fun, and this is not meant to be a bash on anybody. This is not directed towards anybody. But you know what I hate is, and hate is a strong word, but I I really it makes me sad inside when I see these guys who are on lead card final round at the world championship or whatever, and they're wearing brown. Like, you're wearing like brown and gray. I'm like, come on, man. Like, I know for myself as a fan, before I, started playing myself, I would just vote for whoever was wearing the brightest colors. I'd be like, that guy's got some cool shoes or whatever. I'm rooting for him. I didn't know anybody's name. That's how I decided who I was rooting for. So, um, I think it comes from being an artist. My parents were both professional artists growing up. I studied art education in college, and so um, color is just exciting and is fun to me. And so I don't know. I just like to spice it up. It makes it more fun, makes it more interesting to me. Um, and yes, I do attempt to find a nice line between professional and also bright and exciting. Sometimes, yeah, it's hard. And I know I don't always strike that balance. Sometimes I just look goofy and not every outfit comes together well. Um, but, but yeah, I, there are more good shirts in the future. Um, I won't share too much, um, but yeah, I'm really excited to sport new outfits. I'm gonna try my best to kind of keep pace and like keep the new apparel items coming, and every time I make it on coverage and whatnot. No promises, but yeah, it's turned into a really fun part of like my career and who I am as a player. And so I'm just embracing it. I'm not slowing down anytime soon. Sorry, everybody who doesn't like it. You can look the other way or something.
Do you have a guy who like gets the shirts for you or like design stuff for you? How do you come up with the concepts and then acquire them?
Yeah, it started off just me, a lot of like thrift stores and like online shopping and just finding what's out there. Um, yeah, Zone Sporting Goods has been helping out. They're working with several other pros now. Nico, they worked with Nico last year. I think I've seen, let's see, Casey White, Scott Stokely. I think I've seen AJ Carey wearing their stuff. So they're getting out there, and they've got some really cool products, really cool shirts. And you can actually, little plug here, you can go on the Zone Sporting Goods website and go to the Joel Freeman um, collection page, and you can get a strawberry shirt of your own. They're up there, they're live, so you can grab one yourself. Um, but yeah, I've my dad has been stepping in a little bit because he's the best artist I know of, literally. Um, Obviously I'm biased, but I think my dad should be like world famous for how good he is as an artist. And so yeah, he's been weighing in a little bit, and that's been really fun to have my dad involved. And um, so yeah, I've got also Disc Golf Threads helping me out a lot, and so we've got some projects going and some cool stuff on its way in the future. So yeah, it's exciting. I've got a team behind me, and we've got some fun stuff coming.
All right, last question for you here. What do you think about this new thorn layout at Texas State's? And have you been able to get the practice in? I saw some pictures on Instagram looking pretty damp out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a storm rolled through. I actually delayed my travel by one day just to avoid any severe weather, and I think that was a good decision for me. and my wife. But yeah, I played it yesterday. I like it. I am definitely someone who prefers wooded courses, wooded disc golf. I definitely lean that way pretty heavily. I think it's more interesting, and conveniently, I tend to play better. When there are obstacles in the way. So, I heard that it was just more open than it was before, which initially I was like, negative response. I was like, I don't know about that. I'm probably not gonna like it. But I literally don't know if I have any major complaints about a single hole. I've only played the course one time. But as far as my initial impression, I see good things. I really like the layout. I think they did a good job. It just looks like a solid pro course and a lot of good holes and good balance between open but still plenty of obstacles in your way. And yeah, so I like it.
Awesome. Well, good luck out there this weekend and on the rest of the tour, and we hope to have you on again very soon.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'd love to be back sometime. And yeah, thanks again for having me. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Joel Freeman with us here on the Upshot Interview Series. We'll see you next week.